Hi, I'm Simon Edwards.
And I'm Fiona Mckenzie.
We both work in Operations Division at National Highways in the Midlands region. We're here today to talk about a speed reduction scheme we delivered on the A46 in Worcestershire, just south of Evesham from Hinton Cross to Sedgburgh North. Our road network. We manage and improve over 4,300 miles of motorway and major roads in England, known as the Strategic Road Network.
And this is the Midlands region. The A46 here is used as an alternative route from Warwick at M40 junction 15 to Ashchurch and Tewkesbury at M5 junction 9. The section here in the green square is the area we're looking at today.
So from the north, Hinton Cross is a staggered crossroads with the local roads connecting Pershore to the A44 towards Oxford. The next junction south is for Aston Somerville, and the third junction is the B4078 for Sedgburgh.
During 2020 and 2021, we had a spate of serious and fatal incidents along the A46 in this area. We became aware of a petition pushing for safety improvements, and 9 of the local parish councils formed a federation or action group to lobby MPs for West Worcestershire, Mid Worcestershire, and Tewkesbury. The petition raised over 6,000 signatures and demonstrates the strength of feeling from local residents. In August 2021, there was a fatal incident which made headlines and acted to increase pressure to do something.
When we met police on site to discuss the collisions, one of their concerns was around visibility for drivers entering the A46 from Broadway Lane and the speed of traffic approaching the junction. This section is covered by the national speed limit, and the available view for drivers didn't meet the required visibility standards. You can just see the open reach box here on the picture and the privately owned hedge which blocks the line of sight. Police were of the opinion that a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit would be more conducive to the available visibility, and we took this away to look at it. Our normal process to complete studies on a needs basis using information from their cluster site analysis document based on Stats 19 data, which tends to be 2 years behind the calendar year because of the different timescales to supply data from the various police forces and the National Statistics Office. Because we have a close working relationship with West Mercia Police, they were happy to provide the most recent collision data, and we were able to determine the trend much sooner and consider options around 24 months earlier than we would have had in other areas. This location was on our cluster site list, but wasn't considered a priority as other areas scored higher at the time. This slide shows the locations of the collisions, and you can see they're located at or near the 3 junctions. We carried out an exercise to understand causation factors, which showed the majority of collisions involved drivers turning right out of the side roads into oncoming vehicles, with poor turning manoeuvres, failure to look properly, and failing to judge the path or speed of other vehicles becoming common factors. We also carried out speed surveys at 3 locations over the 1.5-kilometre stretch. As you can see, the existing mean speeds were already very close to 50 mile an hour, and to make an impact on safety and to give drivers a few extra moments of thinking or looking time, a 40 mile an hour speed limit would be needed to have an impact on the number of casualties. We explored improving visibility, but the costs were prohibitive due to the privately owned land close to the junction. We explored signalisation, but this would have required 2 sets of traffic lights and would have impacted badly on the journey time. We looked at putting in a central refuge and reducing the speed limit as a designated fund safety scheme, but the benefit cost ratio wasn't going to add up due to the vehicle delay weighted more heavily than the safety improvement. This process is now being reassessed internally.
And the decision was made in March 2022 to trial a temporary traffic regulation order under a likelihood of danger to reduce the speed limit to 40 miles an hour over the 1.5-kilometre length, which covered the 3 junctions we identified earlier. The reason we chose to trial this under a temporary regulation order was because a permanent regulation order would take much longer to implement and would be harder to reverse. If we hadn't seen an improvement in the number of casualties on this stretch, we would have needed to revert to the national speed limit and consider other measures. The scheme was designed in-house by our Safety Improvements team in Operations Division and delivered through our Minor Capital Interventions funding stream, which is usually used for maintenance of the network. Part of this fund includes something called the Route Managers Patch Fund, which is a small amount of money set aside for route managers to be used to address customer or political concerns. Due to the reputational risk and concern for safety, along with the up-to-date collision data from West Mercia Police, this area was where I chose to spend my part of that fund. This was the only route to funding which we could identify, as the benefit cost ratio would have been challenging to meet through designated funds, and speed limit reductions do not fall within renewals. This scheme of work took just over 12 months to deliver, with the temporary regulation order coming into effect from the start of May 2023. Other than funding, the main challenge was project management, as there wasn't a work stream for this to follow. Local residents, parish councils and MPs have very much welcomed the scheme, and slowing the traffic on the A46 now gives drivers wanting to join from the local side roads extra time to complete their manoeuvres safely.
The reduced speed limit and associated road markings have changed the driver experience through this section, and since the speed limit was reduced over 6 months ago, there has been one collision resulting in an injury, the severity of which was lower than it may have been had the vehicles involved been travelling at the previous speed limit. We've also undertaken some automatic speed surveys repeated 3 months after the limit was introduced. The results have showed mean speeds have reduced by 10 miles an hour and were closer to the new 40 mile an hour speed limit.
Part of the success of this scheme is due to it being over a short section of road and means drivers are more likely to comply.
At the next steps, we're applying to make the speed limit permanent. We're working with the police to enable effective enforcement measures. We're going to undertake speed surveys at 12 months to check compliance, and we're going to continue to monitor collisions resulting in injury.
And that is a very, very brief whistle-stop tour of the work we've done on the A46. If you'd like to ask any questions, I'm sure there will be time later. Thanks.